For many years now, in seminars that I've been conducting or conferences where I'm speaking, I mentioned to the audience a personal growth program might be, if it does not have a spiritual foundation, in my opinion, it's incomplete. This program definitely has a spiritual foundation. I'm Bob Proctor, and I want to talk to you on the law of receiving. Here's a line from it. He who seeks a greater life with getting as his objective does not seek life in trueness of spirit. In other words, they're going to have a problem. They are definitely going to have a problem. Now let me read another highlight from this program, and that's exactly what this video series is. It's a series of highlights that I've gleaned from this over many years of studying it. In a state of limited understanding, we reason that we must get before we can give. And then we turn and walk in the same mental rut as before by reasoning that we must give before we can get. But in our lack of understanding, we continue to leave the getting idea foremost in our thought, and we shut out the spirit of giving. Now, giving, which is the first fundamental law of life, is the first law of all creation. The attitude of getting is the law of life in a congested state. Now, I'm going to repeat that. The attitude of giving is the law of life in a congested state or a repressed action. As long as getting dominates a mind, that mind is in a paralyzed condition, being limited in its action in accordance with the fundamental law of creation. Many years ago, I had a wonderful mentor who's gone now, and I really miss him. Leland Valvandewaal. He was a big man in stature, but in understanding. And he taught me something very valuable very early in my career in this business. He said, Bob, you must willingly give and graciously receive. He said, you have to understand that this entire universe is based on a law of circulation. You've got to keep the energy circulating. You're merely a terminal through which it flows. You see, I have since come to the understanding that you and I are here to do God's work. Now, God being the creator, work is creation. God's work is creation. And so you and I are given creative faculties. And through the proper use of these creative faculties, everything starts to happen in a very good way for us. We have to understand the laws. Well, we have to understand that receiving is a law. Now, before you can receive, you have to create a space for it. In the last chapter in the Born Rich book, or the program that I did a number of years ago, I talked about the vacuum law of prosperity. You must create a space for the good that you desire. Now, to create a space for the good that you desire, you must give something. You have to let go of something before you can receive something. As you activate ideas in your mind and send off a charge of energy, your brain will take on an equal amount of energy of a like nature. If you send out a negative thought, your brain is going to take on an equal amount of negative energy. However, if you send out a positive energy, your brain is going to take on an equal amount of positive energy. This is so basic, and yet it's so misunderstood. You see, we've got to be relaxed if we're going to have this happen. You've got to put yourself in a totally relaxed state. And you have to operate with understanding. Now, I'm not suggesting this is going to happen just because you're watching this video. But it will happen if you continue to watch it over and over and over again. Something's going to click inside. I have found through repetition, our perception of life changes and changes dramatically. See, perception is one of our intellectual factors. It enables us to see life in many different ways. As we increase our awareness, our perception of life changes. Well, we've got to realize that everything we're seeking is seeking us. We've got to be open to the good that we're looking for in life. We've got to understand that the only way to receive good is to give good. We've got to put it out and we take it on. If I cause someone I come in contact with to feel good about themselves, I am going to feel good because I put that good through me to get to them. So you see, I receive simultaneous with giving. They're all hooked together. You can't separate them. It's the flip side of the coin. But before we can receive, we've got to give. Now, you know, it's like we say, how can I give if I haven't got it? But you have got it. You have got it. You give what you have got. You see, I think you should give your time, your energy, your loyalty, your knowledge, your money. Keep giving it, and you're going to keep getting more. When we open ourselves up to receive, we're going to find that we are in a relaxed state. Let me read you something that Halliwell pointed out. When we relax from strain, the law has a chance to reply to our desires. And things begin to change for us. Have you not seen this work in trivial things such as books or clothing or invitations or a desire to see a certain friend? Possibly at some time you sent out a thought or a desire and then forgot about it. Just totally forgot about it. The next thing you knew, you had the book presented to you. You received an invitation. You were walking down the street and bumped into the friend that you desired to meet. It happens all the time. But you see, if we're focused on it and we're straining and we're really, trying everything we've got, we're uptight. It doesn't happen. My wife and business partner, Jerry Robert, and I were sitting in a restaurant the other night. And it was rather interesting. We had just sat down. And this woman come over, and she was bubbling over. She said, I can't believe it's you. I just can't believe. I said to my partner, did you see who just walked in here? And she said, I just can't believe it's you. And then she pulled the secret out of her purse. And then, in a very excited fashion, she waved to her partner to come up. He was the chairman and CEO of a company. She was the president and chief operating officer of the company. The company is World Moon Resorts. Their brand is the moon. How'd you like to have that for a brand? Everybody on earth can look up and see their brand. Doesn't matter where they are. Well, she started to tell us a story, how they were working on this project. They've been working on it for about 10 years. That they've been working on this project, and they had spent millions of dollars and all of their time, and they were almost ready to give up. And I guess when they're almost ready to give up, they just sort of relaxed. And someone gave them the secret, and the secret fired them up again. Now, we were listening to them. We weren't quite sure what they were talking about, Moon Resorts, and they were going to build this place in Abu Dhabi, over in the UAE, and it was going to be the largest project in the world. 60,000 condos. And we're looking at them and listening. We're thinking, wow, this is really getting pretty interesting. Then they gave me their 2 business cards. And they said, here's your ticket to the moon. Now, he ran out to the car and come back in and gave us a DVD. I got home and I watched the DVD. Well, it almost blew my mind. It was absolutely incredible. I want you to go to their website and take a look at it. It's just www.worldmoonresorts, worldmoonresorts.com. It's phenomenal. And these 2 people were so excited by what they received. But they had been giving. They'd been putting out for years. And somebody walked up and handed this to them. And I thought, well, if they're that excited over the secret, I'm going to excite them some more. So when I got home, I sent them a Science of Getting Rich program, big box in a briefcase, and they got it the next day. Tonight, Jerry and my business partner, my wife and I, and Sandy, another business partner of mine, we're going to have dinner with them. They're leaving for Abu Dhabi tomorrow. But they're fascinating people. They're operating with a huge idea. These people are really into understanding this. And they're putting out and they're receiving. But you've got to understand, it's the thought that you give it with that makes the difference. Do you know, there's an interesting story that Billy Graham tells about one time. This is when they were struggling. This is when Billy Graham was really just starting out. And $100 probably would have rented a real nice place for a month and bought the food that you needed. But at any rate, the collection plate come around, and he put a $100 bill in. And later on, he says to his wife, my goodness, I thought I put $20 in. I put 100. And she looked at him, she said, isn't that too bad? You're only going to get the good back for putting 20 out. I thought, what a great story. And that's exactly the way it is. You'll say, but he gave 100, wouldn't you? No. The thought that he gave it with, he was giving 20. You see, it's thinking that controls everything. It's the thought we give it with. In the Science of Getting Rich, we talk about leaving everyone with the impression of increase. Why? Because by giving out good, we're going to receive. See, the giving and the receiving are all tied together. They're not separate. You've got to be open to receive, but you'll be open to receive when you really understand the concept of giving. This is an orderly universe, and energy is forever moving. You have to understand that your life is full right now. Now, it may not be full of what you want, but your life is full. Your calendar is full. All your time is spoken for. You'll say, well, it's really not. I've got a lot of wasted time. That's how you're using it then. We must replace the waste with productivity. Yet, and for everything in your life you don't want, it's part of what your life's full of. What you've got in your life is a reflection of what you've been giving. And if you want greater good, you've got to give greater good. The more good we put out, the more we're going to take on. We don't have to worry about what we're going to receive. Let's understand the receiving is governed by law. And the basic law behind it is in giving. And as you give, you receive. You see, if you're sitting in a chair right now, you couldn't put anything where that chair is until you get rid of the chair. This is why the vacuum law of prosperity is such a beautiful concept. Nature truly abhors a vacuum. You give, and you give in abundance, pressed down and running over. And I guarantee you, you'll never have to worry about what you're going to receive. But like my old mentor said, we've got to willingly give and graciously receive. And you see, willingly giving, that's the expression of a lot of faith. But it isn't blind faith. It's faith based on understanding of these laws. So as you dig into this law of receiving, start to thinking of who you can give to, what you can give, where you can give, and then give everywhere you go. Give the very best you've got. And you know something? You'll receive the very best the universe has. It's sitting there waiting for you. This is Bob Proctor, and thank you.